So here's just a few basic things you may or may not have realized you can do with Pages in Keynote. When you're filling in a shape, you can go beyond just using a color and you can custom fill a shape with the image of your choice. You see here that I'm playing around with the scale to make that look different from the background. Also, you can select different types of lines to work as your outline. And again, I've used the dropper there to match the color with what I've got already in front of me. You can also, whenever you are adding text and whenever you're adding shapes, you can customize the shadow. Also, just to show you right now, I am playing around with that gear, which allows me to add more space between the characters. I think that just looks a little bit better. There's loads of different options for you to play around with, and really that's what today is all about. So when I go over to Style and I select Shadow, I've got different types of shadow. You can pick which one, play around, and you can play around with the opacity, with the angle. The color of the shadow is also entirely up to you. So again, make sure that you play around with all of those different options there. That can really change the look of your work. Step 4, I'm going to ask you to add a layer. So you can do that by adding another shape. And those of you who have updated to the most recent version of Pages, and again, if you haven't done that, please do see IT support, and they can help you update. But underneath shapes, there's all different icons that you can choose from as well. So I'll come to that in just a moment. But you'll notice that when I'm adding that shape layer, again, I'm adding lots of shadow. I think that does give it depth. So here's those icons that I mentioned. And what's great is just like the shapes, you can fill in those icons also with images. And you can add lines, and you can play around with the line there. But you notice here, when I go to move that around, it's moving the text. So if I want the text to not be interfered with when I am moving that icon or that shape around, I want to go to View Arrange and select Arrange Tools. And you'll see there that I don't want the text wrap. I've selected none. So now when I'm moving that icon, the text stays exactly where it was. So have a play around with that. That's a really nice tool that makes editing and experimenting with your design a whole lot easier. And a reminder, if you didn't see it, was really fast. When you make a shape, you can copy paste it so it's exactly the same size as the original. If I want it facing the other way, I just select Flip Horizontal, and I have an icon looking both ways. Okay, so we're coming up to the final leg. So when I save this, it's going to save it as a PDF. If I open that image up then in Preview, I can crop it down a little bit, and I can save it as a JPEG. And that's important because I'm going to ask you just to play around with one other free online tool called Photor. That's F-O-T-O-R, just to touch the image up a little bit, and again, just to experiment with some of the filters. And I think that's going to be a good, useful tool for you. And again, you don't have to sign up to use it. It's free, so it's good to play around and see what options are available with our free online tools.